Yeah, we're live. We're live. Hey, everybody, come on in.
Hey.
See you out there.
Hey, everybody. We got the
Well,
Facebook
good
people going.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good wherever you're at. No, I'm switching over right now.
Switchy.
Yes, we speak. Switchy. Yes. Let's see. Where am I? There I am. Still locked out. Thanks, Facebook. Having to do this every episode, or we lose most of our audience. There we are. First, a word from our sponsor. A, B, or C, folks?
B.
B it is. This podcast is brought to you in part by Arrow Comics. Buy more Arrow Comics. arrowcomics.store. Oh, no. Come on in, everybody. We see you out there. It's my night. It's 5 a.m. where I am. I don't know what time it is where
Leroy's here. Oh, yeah,
Well,
Leroy's
here.
Comments out of the gate. Awesome.
Right at the start, Nita wants everybody to remember that you can help support the Indie Comics Network by sending stars. So send them some stars, folks. They are monetized over there now. And Leroy, we're glad you're in the house. A wild Russ appears. Here we are. Yep. And of course, you didn't get to hear the conversation off camera, so you don't know exactly how wild Russ was. It's all good. We're glad everybody's here. That chat's open, by the way. Don't be afraid to contribute. We got lots of great stuff to look at. More two-fisted tales, folks. More two-fisted tales. Great stuff coming. Volume 2, Part 4. Here we are. We're just going to keep going until we can't. We haven't even hit the good stuff yet. Here we are. I mean, the great stuff. Here is the opening.
What was that? This is not a charade. We need total concentration. Now, once again, this time, with the...
There it is.
With feeling.
Thanks for stopping by, folks. I am your host, Randy Zimmerman. I am editor-in-chief of Arrow Comics. I like to write. I like to draw comics. I just like to do comics in general. And I've been doing it since about the mid-'80s. A lot of alternative and independent comics, a lot of freelance work, printed under the Massive and Weeby Comics banners, as well as Arrow Comics. I've started out as their art director for that Dead World book that's back over my shoulder. So, and then went from there. I was the voice of King Zombie in the letters pages, and it's just gone crazier from there. We're really glad you're here. We're here to show the stuff that we love and show off some great sequential art. So also joining me today is Mr. Glenn Fleming. Glenn, introduce yourself.
Hi.
I was hit the wrong button. I'm sorry. That's Mike.
Hello, everybody. I'm Glenn Fleming. I'm a writer, artist, and publisher. I've published 11 books on various subjects. I've drawn lots of comics, I've done lots of illustration. I worked in graphics for 40 odd years. I've done lots and lots of stuff. If you go on Google, and you'll see a lot of it there. I produce magazines and cartoon strips and lots of stuff.
Great. Also joining us today is Mr. Russ Leach. Russ, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Russ Leach. I'm a comic book artist from the UK. Too many years in publishing. But I've done some comic stuff since I was in that silly profession. And since then, I've been able to do things like Batman and Doctor Who and stuff like that. But most importantly, I've been able to meet these guys and hang out on a Friday morning, which is really quite cool. You can find out about my comics and my books, especially Only Death Can Save Us, and also sign up to the email list, because currently I'm obsessed with sword and sorcery over at russleach.com. There you go.
All right. Also joining us today is Mr. Whiskey. Whiskey, introduce yourself.
Hey there, I'm Whiskey. I'm just here to judge humanity to see if you guys, should be extinct or not. All joking aside, I'm Whiskey. I'm the lead creative director for Bandit and Ricochet. We do 3D models, action figures, maquettes, statues, whatever. Any kind of 3D model that you can think of, we can make. And that's what I do.
All right.
Got a nice comment here. Hey, I've been smoking weed and watching UFO shit and drawing comics. Am I welcomed here?
Yeah.
Silly question. Of course you're welcomed here. You are the perfect. You are the perfect person to be here. Yes, everyone is welcome.
I could just see after the comment about extincting humanity, he's just like, "Oh God!"
It's like, oh no, I've said too much.
It's all good.
They know I'm here.
I think you'll fit right in, you Facebook user, whoever you are. Two-Fisted Tales from the great EC Comics, starting with issue number 24, December 1951. It's a great Harvey Kurtzman right there. Long before he figured out how to button up his shirt.
Yeah, his hair slipped down to his chest.
What hair he has.
It's
Kind
like
of looks
through.
Kind of looks like me in my early 20s, except for I had a full head of hair.
It's the testosterone. Look at that. Look at all that.
That's what it is, too.
Yeah.
He's got a retreating hairline just like mine. Wake up, men. We've been surrounded. Oh, look, UK. There we are.
UK.
UK.
Yuck.
Surround UK. All right. Great stuff. One of the greatest sequential artists of our times. Harvey laid out most of this work for the artists, sent them thumbnails along with the script. Every artist got artboard that was already lettered, and they filled it in from there. That's the way the ECs worked. David in the house. I play D&D and 5E. My buddy plays Warhammer 40K.
Warhammer.
28 millimeter figurines, etc. Great.
Yeah.
David, thanks for being
here.
I
know very little about Warhammer.
I
have watched a few of the videos online where they talk about the history and the alternate history or whatever it is. And it seems really interesting. I have to say, since Cavill has decided to get involved, I am very eager to see what he does. So there you go.
It's one of the few series I'm actually looking forward to. Yeah, to see it.
That guy stole Russ's haircut. No, I don't have a haircut like that. I have far less hair than that.
That was 70 years ago.
Yeah, I have far less hair on my head and far more hair on my chest.
See this back behind under his arms, kids? That's a file cabinet.
Woo!
Woo. Don't see those anymore.
Wow, that's a hard drive back there.
Entire wall of them are replaced by a thumb drive. Yeah. There we are. Hill 203.
Look at the way he's slumped over. That's
Jack Davis.
Wow.
I was just thinking about the comment about you not knowing too much about Warhammer and stuff. There's a great, sort of related to Warhammer, there's a great video called How War Became a Game, and it tells the history of wargaming, which
That's cool.
It's pretty interesting because it starts off with, I think it's the Prussian Empire and how they developed like a what's it called? Kriegspiel, right? And it's like the Game of Kings back in the day. Everybody started playing it. They had these elaborate giant boards and like referees and specific rules, and it was just fantastic history stuff that's worth checking out.
Cool.
Where can we find that?
It's called the How War Became a Game.
Any idea what service might have it or how we'd be able to access it?
It's YouTube. It's it's
okay.
a little dark history blurb.
Cool.
Yeah, you definitely like it if you like Warhammer.
Yeah.
This is lovely stuff. Look at that.
Is that Fidel Castro in that first panel?
I don't think so. It kind of could be.
Before his assault on Havana. Is it Korea?
He sounds very American. Okay, you 8 balls.
Yeah.
That sounds very American to me.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just joggled. I did. There we are.
That's good. Marvelous background on the bottom right panel. Just
Mhm.
swishy, swishy. That'll do.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That could either be done by scratching the board or running a little bit of white paint.
Yeah, a bit on it with a dry brush. Yeah.
Looks
But
it looks like paint.
just the fact that there's very little background, but they're in a place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's masterful the way that's done.
Well, it's also
Which is
dark.
which is how you should create your strip. You shouldn't. I mean, people talk about backgrounds all the time, but it's like you don't have to have ridiculous backgrounds in every panel because it takes away from the action. It takes away from what you're doing. You must be able to draw good backgrounds, and you must place your characters within the situation they're in. But you know, I mean, they've just got dark. He's not trying to do anything, and look how much detail there is in all of the characters as well.
I think the thing that I'm not telling Jack Davis how to draw. I wouldn't do that. But I don't like the way that if in the first panel it's daylight, then it's dark, and then it's daylight, then it's dark. I think that's bad.
Well, would have put way too much ink on the page too.
You know, the background's there. It's all black. It looks like it suddenly had a total eclipse of the sun, and then it's daylight again. I don't like that.
Was this originally done in black and white?
Yeah, I would imagine. So.
No, it was printed in color.
Printed in color. So those panels where there's no background could have had like a dark blue.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, I figured it out. It's the flares going off in the back. It's nighttime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, Glenn. If it wasn't intended for any color, then yeah, absolutely, because it would be confusing. But if they can put like a dark blue in the background, then that's
I imagine if it was color, that must be what it is. Yeah, because it doesn't. They've got searchlights on, so it must be dark.
It could be actually flares. You know, it could be the light.
Yeah. I was going to say that flare. Yeah.
Oh,
confusing.
Okay. Hey,
confusing to
I was
me.
right.
They get the
Look at that. Pow, 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 pow.
There's all these Koreans coming at him. It's like, oh, holy crap. Surprise, good emojis. Surprise.
So you shoot them all down, and then into the light comes the thing that they're running away from.
Yeah.
Massive alien monster.
I think actually they handled it quite well, actually, because it is very sharp. The I guess the white to black, and then the instances of the flares and stuff. Like it does look confusing at first, but you know it clearly is flares.
You can imagine big, bang bang, things going off, sky lighting up on every time a flare goes up.
He says at the top panel it's going dark quick.
Yeah. What's really impressive is the amount of detail and ink, well done. And then on that panel where the group of Koreans are lit, how that looks like they are lit.
Yeah.
Look at the way the detail's done on them. So it's much finer. There's not as much shading.
Yeah.
And then you've got that deep black behind them and their shadows coming off their feet. And you can see they've been hit with a searchlight. It's just really, really impressive.
This panel especially. Really
and that's what I think that's what a lot of modern comics don't get.
Yeah.
When we talk about storytelling, people think about the flow from panel to panel and whether the anatomy is correct and all the rest in body language, which is all obviously hyper important. But it's that ability to produce light and shade as well.
Very first panel, I like that guy's Elmer Fudd's hat.
I see he's got a lot of soles of the boots again, our Jack.
Be very, very quiet.
Yeah.
I'm hunting rabbits.
Pretty much. This is a nice touch. The last one, he's running away.
Yeah.
Gets hit in the back. Oh, just such great stuff. Look at that.
Whew. Blam. Kablam.
Duke.
Oh, dear.
I stopped them. I knew I would. They're giving up. The sun is rising and they're crawling back into their holes. Sun is rising and they're running. And I know why. Sob, I know. Sob, our planes are coming. Sob, our planes can see them now. Yeah. He's kind of lost it.
Yeah, I guess you would in that situation.
Yeah.
Orders. Yeah.
Other people dying around him as well. It's just death everywhere. Horrible.
So here they come. Sun's rising. I can see them. Waves of them. That's it, George. Steady, George. Don't lose your head. Pull back that retractor. Look at that wearing down.
Mm.
Yeah.
So he didn't make it, did he?
None of them are happy. None of these stories are very happy. Yeah. 203 has been held. The sun rises on a 50 caliber Browning M2 machine gun, still oiled and shining. The blue steel gun has outlived its crew. In the background, fresh replacements move in to occupy the position. A little bird perched on the gun muzzle flies away. Hill 203 has been held. Now,
Damn.
Not much you can say, is there?
now, next bug out.
It really makes you
Wally Wood. More
like
explosions.
stories like this here, where you just they all perish on the hill, holding the point, and it just it's such a good, excellent story, and makes you really think about the times, and gives you some existential crisis towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go ahead.
I'm going to say it just shows you how pointless it all is, doesn't it?
Yeah.
War.
20 years later, DC would be doing a bunch of war books very much in this vein, and they would always end it with a little bullet down at the bottom that says "Make war no more." Just to drive that home. It's a great Wally Wood, folks. You can stare at that for hours. Get the dent on the
I'm going
helmet.
to say the sniper shot.
Yeah. The guy looking back here, just
The mortar bomb coming over going to land right on his head. In that first panel. Oh dear. I doubt you'd see it though. But there you go.
Guy's probably a gunner.
Wow.
24 hours with only a can of sea rations to eat. Then the word is passed down the line. Bug out. Time to go. Facebook user, man, that panel at the bottom of the page with the guy leaning on the guns like a Rosetta painting. Very powerful. Yep. Very meant to be. Very powerful. Ties back into the splash page for that story. With the bird. Great stories, these. Just phenomenal stuff. That's why we love showing it off.
And these are all Kurtzman's stories.
Yep. At this point, it's probably all Kurtzman stories and basic layouts. The guys weren't demanded to stick with them. But Kurtzman got a little upset if they strayed too far from him.
Was Kurtzman the publisher as well?
No, Gaines was the publisher.
Gaines.
Bill Gaines, yeah.
Yeah.
And Bill had inherited the company. Originally, EC was educational comics.
His dad
started picture stories from the Bible.
Did his dad die young or something and passed it
Yeah,
over?
his dad died in a boating accident, and he inherited the company. But at that point, the dad was already doing entertaining comics, a moon, a girl, a romance, and just starting to dip into crime suspense stories. But Bill Gaines was really the one to blow it all out with all sorts of different genres. He brought in science fiction, war, really up to horror stories. Because at this point, superheroes were really waning.
Yeah,
and having a hard time. Because after the war, nobody had a big, serious bad to fight.
So these were published during the Korean War, which is what, early 50s, 51, 53. Yep. So, right, got it. Yeah. And so then superheroes were on the way out.
Yeah.
Or floundering.
Very floundering.
And then there was a lot of this stuff probably drawn by veterans from the end of the war or wherever. Right, okay.
End of the Second World War. Yeah, right into the Korean War.
I just want to put some context to where we were with it. So this is sort of early 50s stuff. Everybody's young and hungry, like Wally Wood and John Severin and all these people.
Yeah.
Right. Got it.
And they were all feeding off of each other too.
Yeah.
They were all looking at what everybody else was doing and wanting to outdo them. See a little bit of look at that ink work here. That could almost be Frazetta.
Yeah.
Very much so. A lot of people got their start here. And if we work our way through this, at the end of this book, the artists start shifting just a little bit. And there's some, there's a really great surprise story in the last issue on this volume that it startled me, at least, by the artist. More wood here, though. Look at that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying they'd be really picking their stride up towards the end. Yeah.
Yeah. Look
this especially is right as they're starting to hit their stride. Everybody is just banging on all cylinders. Go ahead.
Look how they don't the bottom two panels, and especially the last panel on that page, the first page, how they don't how can I put it? How they depict what they're doing. Do you understand what I mean? They're not scared of showing the violence and the consequence. Whereas later with the Comics Code thing, they probably wouldn't be allowed to show that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, yep.
In that way, at that point of the action.
Yeah. And here, without the color, this vat here almost looks like a glass.
Yeah.
Globe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been colored a dark blue, probably. Some great detail. And again, know what to show, what not to show. No background necessary here. A little bit of background there. Real tight shot here.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of planes.
Is this supposed to be his career, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is all line work back here.
That explosion there on that top tier, that's typical wood, isn't it?
It is.
The design of that smoke and wow.
That whole page, really. It's just, that's wood all over.
Damn.
I wonder how many troops got killed by their own planes.
I'm sure there were a few.
And artillery and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Even just getting shot accidentally by somebody.
Yeah, that happened to what's his name, the actor?
James Doohan?
Yeah, he was on D-Day. He was Canadian. He was on D-Day, and he was shot by one of his own. Took 5 bullets in the chest.
Good Lord!
Yeah, he was shot by somebody. Well, one of his own troops. I can't remember the story, but he took 5 bullets in the chest.
God.
Is that
So-
also when he lost part of his finger?
I think it was, yeah. He
Yeah.
was really, really, really messed up.
Oh, he was a major, yeah.
Do you live?
shit kicker back in those days.
Oh yeah, he's in Star Trek. It's Scotty.
It's Scotty.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I
If you if you watch those original Trek episodes with James Doohan in it, he's always hiding his hand.
Yeah.
So that you don't see the finger that had been blown off.
when you said Scotty, I didn't put it together. I'm like, oh,
Well,
Yeah, he was on. I think he was on Big Gold Beach. I think it was, wasn't it? Where the Canadians were, Gold or Sword. But anyway, he got hit by his. I think they call it friendly fire now, don't they? Work that one out.
Mhm.
But yeah, 5 bullets in the chest. Wow.
crazy. Again, picture stories from the Bible. Add here. Is that the end of the story? That was kind of quick.
Yeah, was that it? Was that the end
Did
of
we miss? No, we didn't miss anything.
what
just
happened
kind
at
of
the
went
end?
through it.
It's great stuff.
Did what whiskey did the?
Sorry, I was just saying we just went through it quickly today.
Oh, sorry.
We did.
Right. Yeah, we did.
We
Picture
tend
stories
to
from the Bible.
stare at the art for like an hour and then turn
Yeah.
it
Yeah, that's what we're here for, I think. All right.
Next up, Kurtzman.
Damn.
Rubble. Baroom. Barong.
Those lines on the side of that
Yeah, do you know?
cannon. Wow.
He, I think I said this last week. He gets everything with 3 lines, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all he needs, and and you've got a cannon, the biggest cannon in the world, and there's 3 lines on it, and you know exactly what it is. I mean, the way he even depicts the star and the break in the line, you know, the American star on the side,
Mhm.
just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
By 3 lines, you mean the thickness of the line, right? Not the amount of.
No, obviously there's more lines to it, but what I was meaning was that the minimum, he uses the minimum amount of lines to depict a story. There's no, that less is more thing. He just gets his point right over.
It's the same thing that Alex Toth is known for.
Yes.
Being able to lay down a picture shape and have it represent exactly what he wanted done so that he can move on to the next thing.
Russ was right last week when he talked about impressionism.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like any howitzer cannon I've ever seen, but I know it's a howitzer cannon, which is the point, isn't it?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, a lot of these people that were picking up, you gotta remember, comics started as pulp. People would pick them up, they'd enjoy them, they'd read them, and they'd want the next issue. That was the whole point. They were just a delivery system.
Yeah.
Right.
And what happened was that the people who got involved in that delivery system were genuine, fantastic artists, in some cases even genius, like Jack Kirby, like Buscema and what have you.
Yeah.
Some of these people were geniuses, and they plied their art, they plied their trade, and they created fantastic deliveries for wonderful stories, and people just threw them in the bin afterwards.
Yeah.
For lots of different reasons.
10-minute reading, you were done.
For lots of different reasons. One was there wasn't really a respect for it, but that was just inherent in the culture because we're not Japan, or you guys were not Japan, you guys were not Belgium or whatever. There was an inherent, like, it's just for kids. Okay, which is probably where a lot of the problems start, where you just say comics are just for kids. No, they're a medium. They're a delivery system.
Yeah.
You can tell any story you want in them. You just have to label them correctly, which is exactly where we are at the moment, not labeling comics correctly for the appropriate audience, just like you do with videos or DVDs or films, whatever you want to call it. And so what you had was a scenario where the art form itself wasn't particularly well respected, and the fact that it was just like any other entertainment that was coming through the cinema or on the radio or whatever. It was like, yeah, let's get the next issue. I want to see its episodic content, or it's just a want and a need for new stories. I've read that set of stories. I want the next set of stories.
Yeah.
And so it was just thrown in the bin, and that's the way it was. And although it's great to collect them, and it really is, it's important that we recognize the art and the ability of these people. At the same time, we've lost some of that. So we've got to a place where I would say most mainstream, we don't call it mainstream, corporate comics are trash. Okay. And they're the ones that aren't being thrown away. They're being collected. It's utterly
luckily they're being slabbed, so nobody has to
utterly it's on
open
its
them
head
and look
completely.
at the interior.
You know, it's like back when people could have collected them, you know, because they were worthy of collecting. Okay, they didn't, because it was because there was an awful lot. The standard, I think, was a lot higher over you know, so many different titles, because you know, you got to say as well, back in the day, comics had a larger chunk of the entertainment zeitgeist. You know, there's games and video and online YouTube and all kinds of stuff now. So comics has got a much smaller space it can inhabit. But even so, the standard was so much better on average. So
you were saying about the appropriate audience. These comics, you know, they are comics that are clearly not for children.
No,
I wouldn't have thought. But,
although at the age of 10, wouldn't you have got hold of this and gone,
oh yeah, of course I would, yeah.
So
that doesn't mean
12,
it was,
in there.
No, it doesn't mean it's right. It means
it
means parents take. We're getting further off the track here, but just a quick note: parents take responsibility, personal responsibility. Okay, like I gave my boy Halo when he was 10 because it's about shooting space aliens, for God's sake. It's not, you know, but I wouldn't give him Call of Duty. Okay, because it's too much like the real thing. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. But so you have to take some responsibility, and that's what it comes down to. The whole of society is just lacking a sense of personal responsibility.
The thing here with the EC books especially is that they were forcing the art form to grow up. They were writing more intellectual stories. They were encouraging fandom, as you can see with the letters page. Though pulp magazines already had letters pages, you didn't have a whole lot of comics that ran letter pages back in the 50s. And you're seeing more intellectual storylines with more of an impact.
But it's funny,
as well as artwork that, you know, is a lot more grown up than what you saw in the golden age.
It's funny that you use that phrase, growing up, because it's called almost like it de-aged in the first place, because firstly the first comics cartoons you had were political in nature, and then they they kind of got drawn into almost like the Sunday funnies, you know, you know, and so everything was childlike again, and then went out into, you know, the world of comics, you know, like periodicals.
Well, you had the adventure strip running. You had the adventure strip running in the papers as well, and some of that, like the Dick Tracy's and Steve Terry and the Pirates kind of stuff, were handling more adult themes at that point as well.
But they were in papers.
Yeah,
it was okay.
Read by everybody.
Yeah, read by everybody. Yeah.
You have to also consider the time as well. People would obviously die younger. You're getting in and out of like world wars. The Great War happened not too before long, some of this stuff, and then World War II, people were dying young. So like you talk about kids, it makes me kind of think about how old were these kids, like, you know, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, like some cases, you know, 17 years old or teenagers. So
here
it's
in 51 as well, you had a lot of these guys coming back from the war, too poor to even afford a TV set, that would buy comics or books, pulp magazines, in order to get their entertainment. So that's where these books come in.
Getting back to this artwork, it reminds me of Frank Miller's Dark Knight. It's almost like a layout rather than finished art.
I'm sure Kurtzman had a big influence on Miller.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he did. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's that minimal thing. It's like a layout. You know, Russ and I have produced layouts for photo shoots, and you do a drawing, and you don't do full detail. You know, you just give it a layout. You know, and this to me looks like, obviously Frank Miller's seen this stuff, because it's the same kind of thing. It's very minimal. It's great stuff. I mean, if you got somebody like Joe Sinnott to ink this, you know.
Yeah,
it would totally change it.
That's for sure.
So he's built that house and just blown it up.
Ugh,
Yep, brilliant. Best laid plans, eh?
look at that.
And he didn't get to make that well. Okay.
Look, your
Who's
glass
that?
can shine.
Who's the artist on the
Glass.
right there?
You have a well.
John Severin.
This is
Wow.
John Severin pencils and Bill Elder inking.
That is just incredible. So
Bill
gorgeous,
Elder is
yeah.
mostly known for his comic book work on Mad Magazine that he did on his own. But for
Look
these Two-Fisted Tales, there's a lot of Severin pencil and Bill Elder inking over
Look
top.
at the guy. Look at the guy on the right carrying the ammunition. The way
They
his
look heavy.
shoulders are really heavy, aren't they? Yeah.
And he stretched
Yeah.
his arms as well.
Yeah.
So you look at this and you go, oh, this doesn't look like Impressionism. Look, you can see everything. It's really well detailed. It's like, no, you got to look deeper than that. Yes, this is a Severin style, obviously, is that of more realism to it. But he's stretched limbs there. And he's the way the lighting is and the mud and just that's fantastic. Absolutely.
And that machine gun is the detail on that machine gun as well. And, and the guy in front with the staff, what is it, the corporal, the rank on his arm. He's a corporal, but I forgot what that T means. It's fantastic the way he knows.
You've got two fabulous artists on one story here. That's I'd love to have seen the pencils on this.
Yeah.
I'd love to see how far Severin went.
Yeah.
Severin breaks out really quick the next couple of issues and starts doing solo stories. As well as the two of them together.
Yeah.
The guy with the ammunition, has he got a cigar in his mouth?
Cigarette or something, cigar or cigarette, whatever.
I think so.
And then there's another one behind the chain under the machine gun carrying the ammo, and he's finding it difficult as well.
Yeah. Slugging.
I just love the detail of the rank, like that corporal with the T on, and then the guy in the background, he's got a single stripe on. Is that PFC, Private First Class in America? That's a Lance Corporal in ours. I just love that kind of thing. It's just brilliant. And the way he's sorry, Whiskey, the way the guy with the machine gun is looking at us as well. Sorry, Whiskey, go ahead.
So I grew up on like a farm in and around mud and dirt and nature and all that stuff. And like one of the things that stands out for me in some comics is how people draw dirt and like terrain or ground or whatever. And you can tell when somebody doesn't spend a lot of time around it. And this is not the case here. Like they
know what mud is, don't they? Severin knows what mud is, or either one of them, however it's being rendered.
And look at on his boots as well, though.
And the other thing is when we talk about economy of line and how the impression of perfect lines is often completely untrue, and you get to look here and the lovely brushwork on the bottom panel, the lovely brushwork on the guy's legs, and then you see how rough that background is and how rough the mud is. It's just so damn good. It's and that Whiskey's right about that mud on the top panel and with lighting as well. That's just
heavier on one side than the other.
Yeah, brilliant.
See, when I first saw the guy with the machine gun, I thought it was snowing, but it's the gap between the trees, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you look just next to his head, it looks like it might be snow.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant. I want to know who's lettered this. It's superb.
I have no idea.
But it looks consistent because the lettering looks the same on that page as it does on the Kurtzman previous page. So I'm guessing it's a single guy doing it.
Yeah,
probably.
the whole book.
Yeah.
There you go. So, okay, he's got quite a lot of background in all of these, but he's got one panel where there is no background. Okay, so it shows that you don't have to be putting background into every panel.
And it's nice to have that break, isn't it?
It is nice to have that break. It helps pacing. It helps with drama, with the acting of it. It's just that for the top.
We're in the Second World War now, aren't we? Because he says the Jerrys will we've left Korea. We've gone back 10 years.
Yeah.
The Jerry's. What a great name that was.
The Jerry's. Well, you know that's where Jerry can comes from, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Because they had that brilliant design, and we had boxes with water.
You know what I noticed the other
7
day?
years
Because
ago, facing the German.
yeah. So it's like thinking back.
Yeah.
So I noticed. I don't know what I was watching the other day. I can't remember. It was some kind of war film, or it was. I really can't remember. It was a documentary or it was a film. I don't know. I just remember seeing a German water canister and thinking, oh, well, that's what they look like. Because you said the last time we were on, you went, oh, that's not a German water canister. That's an American water canister.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I looked at it and went, oh, that's what a German one looks like. It's just now imprinted in my mind.
Well,
Details matter.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
you see the center panel.
Which one?
The center. I'm sorry, on the left-hand page.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah. The guy, the sergeant guy there, and with his back to us.
Yeah.
He's got an M1 carbine there.
Right.
And the guy next to him, almost blacked out, has got a BAR.
Yeah.
With that kind. Yeah, a Browning automatic rifle. That's I love that kind of attention to detail.
Yeah.
Because it just shows me, like the guy above with the mortar on his shoulder. He's got an American pistol holster there. That's nobody else has one like that.
But you see, that's a part of the immersion. So it does two things. One, for people who know, like you, it catches their eye and they're like, oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, it's still a variation of realistic design and application that sucks the reader in. It pulls you in even further, and that's where a lot of artists kind of come a cropper. Is they're looking to detail everything. They're looking to put so much detail into everything they do, when in actual fact it's not about the detail. It's about the representation of the elements of real life. And so you look at these, and none of these are photorealistic. None of them. No. Okay, I mean the guy down on the bottom right-hand page, one from last panel, that's a cartoony kind of face. Okay, and the way that they're standing, what they're doing, and the fact that the backgrounds are flicked in. Okay, they're flicked in very well, but they're kind of they're very impressionistic. Okay, and it's the whole thing together, and what happens is the eye is fooled and you're drawn into a story. And with great comic book art, what happens is it's so good that it forces your brain to fill in the missing bits. You fill in the gaps, and that's why comic books are, why sequential art is the best storytelling medium, because it engages you. It entertains you and engages you all at the same time that none of the other mediums do in the same way.
And if you're following the story, the guy don't want to be there.
No.
He wants to leave. He'd let the other guy. So, I wonder how many people died because the other guy didn't do his job.
Yeah.
This guy, I mean, I don't blame this guy. He just wants to get the hell out of there, doesn't he?
I've had enough of this.
On a technical point, before we leave this is a master class in inking on how to detail, push, pull, silhouette, knowing what to ink dark and what to ink light, how to guide somebody's eye along. That's why we love looking at this stuff in black and white.
It's like Russ said, I'd like to see how much of that was John Severin. On the pencils.
I'd love to see the pencils on this. Yeah, he's done it again. Top right hand panel. What a great panel that is.
Yeah,
I'd like to see the script, to be honest. Because
you would have to. They wouldn't have seen it, would they? All the letters were laid down first.
Everything was already there. Yeah. Didn't Kurtzman do the layouts for all these, Randy?
He did, but there were probably thumbnails when he sent that along with the finished art pages with notes about what he expected to see on the page.
So are we saying that you think that the letters were on the page when John Severin got it to pencil?
Oh yeah, absolutely they were.
With a description of what was going on.
Well, probably not on the board itself, but on the thumbnails there was a description as to what's happening.
So you wouldn't have got a script per se. There would just be all the lettering on the page and a thumbnail with maybe some notes on the thumbnail.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure 100%, but he
Right.
wouldn't have needed a script at that
No.
point.
No. He just knew what space he had because the lettering was there.
Well, you mentioned like specific weapons and stuff like that, and like particular, holsters. I imagine some of that stuff was definitely in the notes.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I think
don't
a lot of
know,
these
no.
people were in the war, weren't they?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
this is what they were saying. I don't think you wouldn't need if you gave me a script or a layout with a soldier, in the Second World War, an American soldier. I wouldn't need you to tell me the kind of holster he had. I'd find that out myself.
Yep.
Hmm.
And if it wasn't right, your editor would catch it.
He should do.
Yeah.
That's what editors are for. Yeah.
Yep. Another great page here. Regard to bluff yourself, Lieutenant. What happened? Pringle, where's Swenson?
Yeah,
Where are you going?
I think in all fairness, that's what indie comics suffers most from. A lack of decent editors.
Yeah.
Wait, you'd have to say that all comics suffer from a
I
lack
think
of decent editors.
I think
a
it's sort of decent
Yeah.
anything, to tell you the truth.
Lack of decent editors, but indie comics lacks editors. Full stop. There's very few editors doing the rounds in indie comics, and it's unfortunately sometimes a comic that's brilliant could be excellent for the lack of an editor.
Hojo in the house, as you can definitely tell, the lettering was there first by the placement of the balloons. Morning, fellas. Morning, Hojo. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, they're all high, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all at the top. Yeah.
They're all high, which is how the submission process is given to you, described to you for 2000 AD.
Yeah.
Still, if you go to it was last time I looked.
You got to be high.
And they say, right,
Yeah.
always have X amount of room in your gutters, and always leave like 10-15% or something like that at the top of every panel for text. They're still doing it that way. They're still saying it like that. So
They would put in the balloons. All you had was the lettering there.
wonderful stuff.
Kablooey. Kablow.
That's a really bad drawing of a tiger tank, but I know it's a tiger tank. So, where's the contradiction in that? Look at that.
It's great perspective, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great forced
Oh, yeah.
perspective on
It's
that.
great.
It's really good.
And that perspective on that 30 caliber at the bottom there, the center that Randy just pointed
Yeah, where it's
to.
bottom panel where he's getting killed, where he's getting
Yeah.
shot or whatever.
Yeah.
That is a fantastic panel. Where he's leaning over there, and the hat is moving. It's just
Look at the guy above with his head in
Yeah.
the water. Oh
yeah.
dear.
And the gun,
Oh,
the gun coming
wow.
out. That's almost 3D. That gun.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
And the other guy on top of the 30 cal there, on the right hand
Yeah.
side. Wow.
Just
Oh,
brilliant.
Fantastic series of panels.
Yeah.
Pringle, the broken link in the chain of soldiers on the river, and his sightless eyes stare at the broken chain link on the chain.
Mm. Wow.
And to 25. Fellas, I just got word. They're arranging an armistice. Yeah. Tell Jonesy here about your armistice. He'll be glad.
That's one of those famous drawings, isn't it? I've seen that a lot. This one about Jonesy and his armistice.
Jonesy.
Poor Jonesy.
I wonder what the count is of
Yeah.
the people who died after the armistice was declared,
Oh.
prior to everybody getting the information. I wonder
Well, they
what the count is.
There was, I read somewhere about the First World War when they did that. I'm sure both sides were doing it. I'm not pointing fingers, but there was a lot of German sniper activity with seconds to go, and they knew that it was over at 11, and they were still firing. But they reckon the last person to die was a German who got hit the other way. I don't know how they know that, but I read somewhere about it.
It's a great.
Well,
Jack
you've got the
Davis.
people who love it, haven't you? You got the crazies right at the end. Like, I'm going to make as much of this as I can.
Yeah.
Well, just
before
think,
the clock runs out. Yeah.
just think of how many people must have known that it was over and it was 11:15. Then they got killed.
Yeah, God, yeah. Everything's fine now.
And they
Bang.
start celebrating. They
Yeah.
stand up in the trench and then just
Exactly. Yeah.
I got
Then-
2 rounds left in my magazine. I'll just shoot them across the lines just for fun.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Paul McCartney playing football.
Yeah.
And then you got the people coming home or like, dying of infections or
Yeah,
not
that's
making
just
it.
hideous.
Not quite.
Suicide,
not quite making
yeah.
the trip. Yep.
Some more
sorts of
fantastic
stuff.
mud there on the right hand side.
Yeah.
And that panel, just wow.
That rain's
Just
really
wanted to-
coming down.
Yeah.
Point out this photograph of Jack Davis with the board on his lap
Yeah.
and how big he's drawing here.
Yeah.
And he's working on this page.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
That is
some ways
fantastic.
you shouldn't really look at this
Or
stuff.
this page is buried here. He's probably working on the next page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it what size? Right. Okay. What size paper is he actually working on?
He's probably 2 up. A lot larger than your standard original nowadays. Yeah.
That's what I say. You look at this work, and sometimes you're thinking, "Oh God, look how great it is," and then obviously it is great. It doesn't matter that it's 2 up; it's still great.
Right.
Okay, but there's no way that you can go anywhere close to that if you're working at a size down. You know?
Yeah. In the text, it says he went in the Navy, Jack Davis, and he drew the manuals. That's why he draws accurate weapons and holsters
There you
and
go.
things, because
There you go.
he
He
would,
already knew.
he would look he would be holding them, wouldn't he?
Yeah. And of course, if he's drawn them that often, you know what it's like. Whenever you draw something often, that's it. It gets locked in, and you can just pick it out.
Yeah, our own Mike Noble did that when he wasn't in the war, but he was conscripted in the late 40s, early 50s, and because he could draw, he did the manuals. And if you look at his equipment, it's not accurate in terms of real military equipment, but his guns and his tanks and his vehicles are always really well drawn.
They'll give you that impression that they're real. Yeah,
because he had to draw trucks and tanks and stuff. Brilliant, just absolutely fantastic. But what a great sort of luxury in a way to do your artwork 2 up, and the detail you could get in there.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine facing that piece of paper, because you know what it's like. When you've got that blank piece of paper, you think, "Oh my God, I've got to fill this now." Imagine it twice as big. Look at that.
Just phenomenal stuff.
That rain's coming down again, isn't it? Look at that. Look at the feet, the footprints in the mud. Like Whiskey was saying about knowing mud. That center panel there is incredible, isn't it? At the top, on the left-hand page, with the feet. Yeah, it's just amazing.
Nice sequence.
There's a lot of weight on your shoes when you're walking through it, or boots rather.
No wonder these soldiers complain all the time. So not enough to get shot. You got to fight the weather as well.
You got to fight foot rot and disease. And...
Exactly. Yeah. I read somewhere that in the Philippines and that theater of war, more soldiers died of disease than were shot. Yeah. On both sides.
Yep.
Most casualties were malaria and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can understand why they're a bit pissed off all the time.
That you really don't need color on these.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
This reminds me of slightly of a scene they have in my comic book where the train of zombies is kind of like walking through a section of mud, and like I set up the layout for it, and very similar kind of like really heavy feet, and like having to really pull on it to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
No way to encourage them either. There'll be an extra set of brains once we get this wagon through. Yeah, doesn't work. Down.
Look at that. No time to call the Air Force here, you women. Give me a bag of grenades. It's Sergeant Fury. But ow. Oh no.
Be a great panel.
Wow. And there's that underneath of the foot again. He loves that, doesn't he?
Only it's muddy.
I know it's war and stuff like that, but it almost makes it'd make you want to take off your boots and you'd be lighter.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the danger, wasn't they? They used to do that, didn't they? And then they'd make it worse. But yeah, didn't they have to try and keep the feet dry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I don't think it's possible in those conditions, especially in the First World War in those trenches.
Big fight on them long marches. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spent quite a few summers barefoot in the farm. It's dry, obviously, but it's way easier to navigate.
Well, pigs don't wear shoes.
Well, I mean, if you're if you're like doing manure, you definitely want to wear boots.
Or chicken. Chickens don't wear shoes. Or cows. Or sheep. God, that's a big list.
Yeah.
Oh, Sumerians.
Yeah, they wear boots. They wear pirate boots.
Captain America boots.
Captain America boots. I'm going to change the straps for the next one.
Turn the page. I want to know what happens to Shadburn. Is he dead? Or is he going to make it? It's a bit dead to me. But ow, bam, bam, bam. Wow. Oh.
Stop gaping, duck butt. Drop grenades down hatch before they can bottom up. Button up. Just run it up. Drops them. Oh, there's still Shadburn there. With a long, look at that body flying. Man.
Wow. Wow.
You can get tablets for that. Or perhaps a cream. For Shadburn.
Is it Shadburn who's shot the Korean? What is it? Is it a tank? Or what
Looks
is
like
it?
a tank.
Yeah, it looks like a tank, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
he
is it
dropped
like-
the grenades down the tank. That's what blew up.
Yeah.
Is that a tank or is that is it a
Is that
tank in the mud?
They said it was a pillbox, didn't they? But that don't look like a
Dug-in
pillbox.
pillbox. Yeah.
I thought pillboxes were made out of concrete, not metal. Looks like a tank turret to me.
Yeah, they're not.
But what do I know?
Looks like a tank.
If it's a tank turret, it's been buried in the mud.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, it's a pillbox. It looks
It's
like.
pillbox.
Yeah, but if it was a tank turret, it'd have a huge cannon on it, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's very odd, isn't it? That I've never seen anything like that.
It's got a whittle gun on it.
Yeah.
A little bit of zip tone here.
Yeah.
Just enough to drive that point home.
So he was okay then. He wasn't killed.
Good line work. Yeah. Put her there, soldier. We did it, Sarge. We knocked out that freaking pillbox. My.
Look at the shadows on those guys walking over that hill on the last panel.
Yeah.
How good is that?
That's looking at some Kurtzman there.
Yeah,
You can see it. Yeah.
that's great.
Now for something completely different.
Yeah.
Bunker Hill.
Well, it's still
Hollywood.
fighting.
Yeah. Look at that negative space on that cannon.
Mm.
Is that Wally Wood again?
It is. Yep. It says so right there. Wood.
Look at that. He's got everything in there. Look, he got a Wally Wood explosion, a great drawing of a cannon, loads of guys, and he's even got the Navy there as well. Look.
Yeah.
How good is that? Wow. you know, when I see these panels like with Kirby and everything, I'm convinced they all have a bet, you know, to see how many people they can get in one drawing. I think Wally's just won it with this. Like, there's about 500 people in that panel.
They're constantly trying to outshine the other. Yeah.
On that cannon, there's no top line, is there? He's just
that's what I was saying. Yeah, just phenomenal.
How good is that?
Phenomena.
Nothing here either. Yeah. Just enough detail to bring it out. Nothing
and that lovely black.
He could have outlined that whole thing, but decided not to.
Yeah, and up where the guy's pointing, the black down the side of the cliff. Yeah. Wow.
With the light lines here for the Navy in back. Are they on fire? No. Nope. A little smoke working there. Yeah, it's a little bit of smoke working here. Rhode Island and Connecticut, farmers and merchants come to run the British out of Boston. Average Joes. No uniforms, no roll calls, no camp routine. Yet this was an army. And so they waited atop Breed's Hill. Look at that. Look at that. Holy crap. A little bit of research work in there.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Those guns. Look at them all shooting at the bottom there. Crikey.
It's like a Zulu, isn't it? Front rank fire.
Wow. No cutting and pasting in Clip Studio here.
No.
To draw every one of those.
So, line cross hatching back here.
What are we cutting and pasting in Clip Studio?
Nothing here.
People.
Yeah, people.
Soldiers. Multiple soldiers. Would you not do that in Clip Studio?
You could probably do it. Yeah.
You draw one soldier, make sure they've got a solid background, and then duplicate them as they go down the perspective, making them slightly smaller as they get to the end of the line.
But look at the
capturing the whole lot of them, duplicating them again, then you've got a second row of soldiers.
Look at the way that on that panel there, on the left-hand last panel, the way, like you're saying about the marching, all the legs are different. All the drawing is different.
That's what you have to do. So, for instance, if you did use that technique in Clip Studio, you'd also have to make sure that you adjusted each individual soldier when you went to render them just slightly, so that they didn't look like they were copied and pasted.
So what you might as well do is just draw them.
No, you don't. No, the idea being that you've got the general sort of swagger of a march, because they'd all have their right legs in front at the same time, wouldn't they, if they're marching? So you could get away with that aspect. Normally, when you have a few people walking together, you don't want them all having the same leg in front, because that just looks a bit weird.
But that drawing there, it's great because those soldiers are on like a curve, aren't they? They're sort of facing you, then they're turning away.
What you do is you adjust it at the end. You've still effectively given yourself you don't have to plan out each figure down the line. You've planned out, say, 10 figures, and then you adjust them to make them look slightly different, because you don't want them to look all the same, because that would just look like you'd cut and pasted them.
Or nowadays you just cut and paste them and not worry about it.
I think, I mean, if I was doing that on a board using, so the way to do it would be photocopy the character and like paste them in. There would be no point in doing that. You'd just draw them all.
Yeah.
But if you're using a digital tool, then it is worthwhile doing it. It does cut down some time, but you can still end up rendering them all uniquely so that they don't look silly. But there's no way that you would do that for that right-hand panel down the bottom there, where they're all shooting the guns.
Yeah.
That would just look weird. You'd have to draw each one individually in order to give them that movement that he's got there.
Nowadays, you could probably get away with the 3D model of the gun, and then just slightly tweak the angle on it and drop it in.
Yeah, I think if you wanted to be super accurate, you could do that. But like, this guy didn't.
No sound effects needed here.
No, none. No.
Beautifully done.
I guess it all depends on the time too, like how much time.
Yeah,
a lot of artists want to get over stuff quickly, and they don't have time to do it. Or
well, when you're getting paid by the hour, by the
Yeah.
page, you know, you do want to get the page done as quickly as possible.
They still weren't getting paid much, but they were getting paid the best.
Yeah,
Mhm.
of
Here.
not much.
Yeah. Probably close to professional rates nowadays. Back then, that gave you a lot more spending power.
$30.
What kind of page rate is it at Marvel these days? Does anybody know?
There's very few people in corporate comics that are on more than $500.
A page.
Oh, no. That's way high.
I just said very few.
Yeah.
I just said very few. As
That's for a
in
completed
probably
page,
probably like 10 or 12 people, if that. Okay, and these are what's left of what used to be a superstar elite.
That's
back
probably
in the day, people like Jim Lee used to get $1,000 a page. Okay,
yeah.
Most people now, most artists now, I think you'd be lucky to get $100 for pencils.
Yeah.
I think you'd be lucky if you're getting $100 for pencils.
If we're wrong, just correct us in the chat or the comments. We'd be curious.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a different page rate.
Anybody out there who has got a page rate from Marvel, please tell us.
Let us know.
Let us know. I mean, put it this way: when I started getting into comics, so it's got to be 14 years ago now. I decided to be an illustrator, and I was picking up bits and pieces for somewhere between $20 and $50 a page as an indie. Okay. Well, 14 years later, and I think indies are now paying something like $65, $75 for a penciled page. Okay. And Marvel aren't paying much more.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what it's like. That's effectively what's going on now. There is no money in it. There is no money in it. Which is why people are making their own books and going direct to
unless
to
you have
the
a huge
customer.
name.
Yeah. If you can go to the customer and sell a book for $25, okay, you've got the potential of making several $1,000s on a book, okay, which is great, okay. And if you've done well, okay, you might make tens of thousands of dollars on that book, okay. That's far more than you're going to make on a page rate.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I guess the benefit of going with the companies though is you get name recognition that can last like a lifetime.
It used to. I don't think it does anymore.
No.
I mean, most of the comic book artists again, I say most, these are generalizations. Okay. Most of the comic book artists, when I hear their names, I'm like, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Nobody's got a clue who I am.
I think it's been that way for the last 25 years. So
nobody's got a clue who I am, and I don't expect anybody to. Okay. So I did some Doctor Who and some Batman in Europe. All right, I didn't do it in America, so it doesn't count. Okay, nobody has a clue who I am, and then you go up a stage and you say, okay, well, what about American comics? Well, what about them? People don't know who people know artists' names from 25 years ago, and before that. Okay. Other than that, I don't think people know. There are a few, but even then, they're probably on their way out of the industry.
Yeah.
I remember having a discussion with Gary Reed from Caliber Press, and Caliber at that point was printing a lot of stuff by a lot of people. I mean, they were printing Mobius, they were printing a wide variety of stuff. And Gary told me he's got people coming at him all the time that boast that they've worked for Marvel and DC. He has no idea who they are. No. And no knowledge. You know, this guy could have been on X-Men for 6 months, and he's out looking for work anywhere that he can find it. Nobody knows who he is.
The one thing I can be happy with, what you've got to do is, if all you're looking at is that kind of potential recognition or working for larger companies, I can look back on what I have done and say, I drew Batman officially. Okay, I'm one of maybe 1,500 artists, maybe less, over the whole period of time that have officially drawn Batman in a sequential art format.
Well, plus
I'm plucking a number out of the air, 1,500. I don't know. It might be 20,000. It might be 10. But in a population of 7-8 billion people on the planet, that's quite a tiny, tiny number of people. So I can be happy that I took part in that and that I was lucky enough to be one of a very few number of people to be able to draw something that I loved as a child. Okay? I can be happy in that. I don't need it. I don't need the recognition. I don't need, because they're not paying enough money. It's like all this bullshit with being cancelled over the past 10 years, 5 years, whatever. It's like, what's the problem with being cancelled from something that ain't going to pay you a living?
There you go.
Yep.
So okay, fine, cancel me. I don't care. I don't care. I mean, I would still, if Marvel came to me tomorrow and said, "Would you like to draw Captain Britain?" I'd fall over and do it. Of course I would, because it's a childhood fantasy. All right. Mm-hmm. Once I'd started drawing it, if I found that the story just did not jive with me, I would have to walk away from it. But I don't have to have that anymore. It was something that I wanted to. 14 years ago, it was like, I want to draw for Marvel. Yeah, or I want to draw Batman. I want to draw for Marvel. And I got to draw Doctor Who, and I got to draw Batman, and I'm happy. Okay. If they cancel me and I never get to draw for those people ever again, it's like, one, are they really the same companies that I loved as a kid anyway? No, they're not. Okay. Are the characters the same? No, they're not. Right. There's still There's still some magic about it. But it's like, if I never get to draw for them, am I really going to lose out? How much, from a financial perspective, I'm not going to lose out because they're just not paying people anymore. Not in the way they used to. It used to be something that you could do as a career. I don't think you can now.
You're also one of the few artists that has professionally drawn every character in the Marvel universe.
Well, not every, but quite a few. I was lucky enough to have that. When I did the Draw the Marvel way. So I've had a go at these things. I would consider myself a true professional. Okay, I'd love to have drawn for Marvel the way that I remember it as a kid, and I'm sure lots of people do feel that way. Okay, and it's not the same thing anymore, and I've come to terms with that. That's fine, but outside of that, from a financial perspective, the industry is not what it was. It's not the same, and you
not
have
even
to
a sliver.
You have to find different ways to market, and unfortunately, the way of making any kind of financial return is not through being paid by larger corporates. It just isn't. You're better off getting a name in indie. You're better off sort of getting out there and being known for creating and doing stuff, rather than just from my perspective, financially, I'm in a situation where if somebody said, okay, you could do Captain Britain for a year at $100 a page, I'd do it. I could do that. I'd be quite happy doing it. All right, as long as the story was okay. I didn't dislike the story too much. But I could do it.
Modern or original costume?
Oh, it's got to be original. They're going to send me back to the original costume. But it's, I don't know the full details because I haven't been there like other people have. Okay, I know a fair bit about what's going on, but it's a different industry. One thing I do know is it is completely different now, and you have to find different ways to market. And there's always I now appreciate that the best way to do that is to make your own books.
Yeah,
it really is. It's make your own books, get out there, make it happen. Because page rates are through the floor now everywhere.
This story was clearly written by an American because only the Americans could gloat in the fact that they lost this particular fight just because they killed more Brits than Americans died. That's not a win, is it?
I was going to say, I'd love to see the notes on this panel.
God, look at it.
It just said have 600 people fighting.
Just war. Yeah.
I call it a Pyrrhic. If you win it, it's a Pyrrhic victory. If you lose it, you just lose it, I guess. Pyrrhic loss.
But it just says at the end, they're proud that they were throwing rocks. They didn't win, but they threw a couple of rocks. So,
well, our attrition is a strategy. It's a really
Attrition.
crappy strategy. Yeah. It's a crappy strategy, but it is one that can work. Attrition, yeah. Sorry.
Yep. Yeah.
Patricia, who's that?
Says the Battle of Bunker Hill was a spark, the spark that set a nation of awkward farmers on fire. When people are fired by a cause, they will fight with broomsticks or even rocks, for that matter. Text page. Suspense story fans. For more picture stories from the Bible. The Curse of the Engine.
Corpse.
Curse. Go ahead.
Shells. Corpse. Sorry. Yeah. Corpse of the Engine.
I was waiting for you to catch on to that.
Okay. It's getting a little more cartoony every story.
Yeah.
A little bit looser, a little bit quicker. Eventually, he stops doing artwork in these stories and they start bringing in other people.
I just love the thickness of his line that he just throws on it.
Isn't that crazy?
It's just mad, isn't it?
He don't care, does he?
No. It's just brilliant. What's he
No.
got? A piece of wood.
Earlier, we were talking about Warhammer and stuff like that. And, some of the painting techniques I'm seeing on the page is like, the dry brushing and, brush strokes and stuff like that. You can see them mimicked in how some of those guys do the really high detail painting miniatures and things. And it's worth a look for anybody that does this kind of stuff, just to see how they do it, because it's there's real artistry there as well.
Yeah.
Thin line, thick line, thin line, thick line. Knowing what to push, how to pull. Again, just great. Brush
In many ways, I'd say. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're all right.
In many ways, I'd say that painting miniatures is similar to inking, because you're working with an already you're already working with something, right? You have maybe a physical model, but there's something there.
The sequence, it doesn't have to show the water.
Yeah, look at that.
Right. Negative space here along the top, and then along the bottom, it's just blacker. Show the blood.
Wow.
Yeah. Then here he accomplishes the taking out the other guy, and then feels it, and then walks away.
He just shamed, he says.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Suddenly you're
not proud of it.
Quiet. Your rage collapses. The water is very cold. You're tired. Your body is gasping and shaking, weak, and you're ashamed. You stumble and slosh out of the river and run away from the body in the water. Yeah. Great stuff.
Rough.
Yeah.
What a way to go, too.
What a scene.
Yeah. Brutal, isn't it?
That's a great page. Yeah, brutal. Absolutely brutal.
I had an uncle. He was in the Navy, and he drowned one time, but they saved his life. But he was like dead for a minute or two, and he said that was like the most painful thing you could ever imagine.
Wow.
It's floating away. Smudge line.
Damn.
Here. Show the bush. Same thing, almost the same type of smudge. Here to show the water. Nice one.
Yeah.
Quick.
So that reminds me a bit of Remitter Junior.
Yeah.
Just thicker than Remitter Junior, because he uses finer lines than that.
Mm-hmm.
A bit like that. And I'm thinking of somebody else, and I can't remember who it is. But obviously, people have been watching.
John Severin again now. Doodlebug. V1.
Yeah, buzz bomb.
Yeah. One of Werner's first.
What a sequence here. All line work. Isn't it? Is that line work or wash? It could be dual shade. It's dual shade. Right here. So dual tone board. Little line work here.
Not sure this story is accurate. I don't think the ones we used, they were just sent over the channel to England, followed by the V2, the big A4 rocket. So I'm not sure how accurate. I don't think they were used in Germany or flown out of Peenemünde.
This is World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when they used them, right at the end.
See, that's brilliant, you see, because those soldiers, those German soldiers are paratroopers. You can tell by the helmets.
They had them in, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they had them in, what's that place? The Frozen Band of Brothers.
Bastogne.
Bastogne?
I think so. Fuck,
I don't remember. They had V1s in Band of Brothers.
I think so. No, I think not in the show itself, but like historically, I think they had them in the air.
Well, they were flying over the top of them while they were doing whatever they were doing.
Yeah. Don't know about that.
Because they weren't used on troops, were they? They were only used.
No, they were terror bombs. What they did with a V1, that doodlebug, that buzz bomb, as Randy calls it, they would fire them in any sort of in no particular direction. And what would happen? They would clear the channel and be heading for London or whatever, and then they would literally run out of fuel, and then they would drop.
Which is what you could hear. You could just hear them stop and then silence.
Right.
And you'd wait for the explosion.
Yeah, and they gave it enough fuel to get somewhere, but they didn't know exactly. It wasn't aimed. There was no guidance system on them. That came with the V2, the big rocket that looks like a Tintin rocket on the moon. You know, with the big fins. That was the first guided missile. And that was Werner von Braun who did that, the guy who made the Saturn V for the Apollo.
That's why I kind of have a little bit of a, when you hear about the conspiracy theories about the Germans having advanced technology and all the rest of it.
Which they did.
Well, they did, but that was it. It wasn't enough. If they'd have had anti-gravity.
Oh, yeah, well, that's super,
they'd have won.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's
that's
stupid.
super
They'd have won. Yeah.
Well, they couldn't get them out of the base in Antarctica.
yeah, there's a fuel shortage.
Make it in a big cave, and then you can't get it out.
Yeah,
a lot of the problem with the Germans was their air force. They couldn't get the Luftwaffe. Their what's it called? The I can never remember the names, but the M109 wasn't really great against the Spitfire. And then the other one started out great. The
Focke-Wulf.
Yeah, exactly. It started out really good, but towards the end, it
Well, what they did, the Spitfire's strength was its maneuverability.
Yeah.
The German planes had more firepower on them
and speed.
Yes, but the pilots are like F1 drivers. The pilots are always dead good. It just depends on the gear they've got. But don't forget, the Germans were developing the Messerschmitt 262, which was the first jet plane, but it came too late. Because they were more or less suicide missile because it was going that fast, and the whizzing past the Allied aircraft, they didn't know what the hell it was, and they had difficulty landing them because they couldn't. It was a prototype aircraft.
They had a lot of fantastic technology, but they were
the guy who developed this Spitfire was a guy called Whittle. I think he designed the Merlin engine in a Spitfire, but he put a proposal to the British government in 1932, which they rejected for what was now called a jet engine.
Yes, I think I remember seeing that in a documentary. They were talking about that.
So Britain had a jet engine 10 years before the Germans did.
Yeah, it
But
worked
they
out.
said, they said no, and that's going nowhere, and it just sat in his drawer. And then all of a sudden, these Messerschmitt 262s were flying around, and they said, "Why have we not got this?" And they said, "Well, we do. It's in this drawer." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that story with Tucker, the guy who designed the car. He had designed a tank Jeep that could run 60 miles an hour and had a bubble turret on top. The government wouldn't take it because it would run in front of the troops. Troops wouldn't be able to keep up with it. But they took the turret, turned it upside down, stuck it on the bottom of the plane. The B-52s.
The Flying Fortress, yeah. Fantastic. So this is a story about the German paratroopers, isn't it?
Boom. Yeah.
For a change.
Well, it's actually called Buzz Bomb. So they got to get involved with their own stuff here, I guess. Here comes another one. Another of those devil machines coming over. Eric Wolf.
That's why they didn't fire them in Germany and continental Europe, because that would happen. They just fired them across the channel.
Yeah.
The V1s, just a bit of information for you. The V1s were launched like Fireball XL5, the way it goes down that track and then that little engine drops off the bottom. They were fired like that, and they just used to fire them in any direction as long as Britain was at the end of it or England was at the end of it. And like I said, they just used to run out of fuel and then just drop. So they were terror bombs because you never knew. As long as it was made a noise, you were okay if you were on the ground. But apparently the Spitfire pilots used to fly alongside them, and because you know what these guys are like, they're all gung-ho. Apparently they used to try and tip the wing of it to make it fly in a different direction, go alongside it and tip the wing. And a few Spitfire pilots ended up detonating it and killing themselves, blowing their own plane up with it because they were trying to, rather than shoot it down, they tried to tip it away so it would go back.
Flying north back here.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? Oh, poor old Eric. There's another one coming for him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Spot.
The
crazy.
FW-190s. There you go. Start of the war, they were one of the better planes, but
yeah, the Focke-Wulf.
Towards the end, it wasn't very good.
Meet the Focke-Wulfs.
Their whole strategy about energy fighters versus climbing is really just kick them in the teeth. Plus the shortages and resource shortages and getting their teeth kicked everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And so the babbling German paratrooper is taken away. High up above, a robot buzz bomb drones overhead, passes west, deep into Allied territory. The sputtering, roaring sound of its motor fades and fades, and then abruptly stops. And for 8 seconds, it is dead quiet. Some say us Marines retreated from Changchun Reservoir. Heck, we didn't retreat. We just advanced in another direction.
Brilliant.
We have a half an hour.
What do you want to do? Do you want to carry on with this? Do you want to close it?
Really, what I really want to do is turn to the back of this book and show you a story.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
So, the history thing I got wrong. I was thinking about the Messerschmitt ME-262, which was present at the Battle of the Bulge.
We're looking at Fire Mission here, and I've hidden the artist's name. So you don't know who it is.
Is that the guy that used to do the weird monsters?
Which weird no, that Basil Wolverton?
No?
No.
Right.
You'll be amazed by who it is, though.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's definitely a weird looking style.
Somebody you know. Or you should know, or you might know. Look at some more. Any ideas, Glenn?
No, I can't see. I don't recognize any of it.
I think from what Randy's saying is we'd be shocked anyway. So we're probably
Yeah.
not likely to work it out.
Oh no, you can see the styles
Oh,
right
can you?
there, especially. Yeah.
I think
yeah.
he gave it away earlier in the thing, didn't you?
Where?
You talked about later on he gets more cartoony. We already covered the
Oh no,
this
not him.
This isn't Kurtzman, no.
Isn't
It's not
Kurtzman,
Kurtzman.
No, I can't see.
Okay, well then.
Look at that face though. Great. That's really detailed too. Look at that.
It's not John Buscema, is it, or somebody like that?
No. Is it one of the mad artists?
Don't know. Come on, tell us who is it?
Go on,
You're getting warmer.
I'm just gonna say Wood. It's Wally Wood.
It's not
No,
Wood.
it's not Wally Wood.
Look at
No.
this. Look at
Not
this
Wood.
Kid's face.
Mort Drucker. Don't know.
Isn't that great though?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. I like the sort of sheen on the helmet.
Yeah. Young kid, freckles. Wonk, 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 zonk. Look at that face. That's great. How crazy is that? Talk about expressionism or impressionism.
So
Look at that. Just exaggerated. That's cool too. Look at that.
Is it Will Alder?
No, but I could see where you would pull that off though, with the way that the inking looks. Very much so. Yeah.
Go on, tell us who is it?
Severin?
One more page. No,
Severin,
that's it.
no.
That's it. Just look at that stuff. Just incredible.
Right.
Ready?
Well, relief.
Can't read it.
Tell us.
Oh.
It's Dave Berg.
Dave Berg. God.
Oh, from Mad Magazine, yeah. Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. I'd never have got that.
No, exactly.
I was looking ahead and I ran across that story. I went, holy crap, that's amazing. Look at that. Just a completely really, you're so used to seeing Berg doing slice of life stuff. That picture here I thought was really close to the character that he ends up drawing himself as, with the pipe and everything.
Wow.
Just great stuff. Again.
Falling on his face there. Bang.
Just the scared look on that kid's face is just amazing.
Wow.
Went on to work for decades as one of the usual gang of idiots at Mad Magazine. See our ink work here.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. A lot of great surprises like this coming up in this series. Just some great stuff.
Wow.
So, folks, again, we've been looking at Two-Fisted Tales. Same thing next week.
Yeah. I've got to carry on with this one.
we'll pick up where we left off. There's so much more great stuff to look at.
This might turn into Watchmen 2.
Yeah.
Could be. Yep.
It won't be a bad thing, will it?
Not at all. Nope.
Well, it's just a masterclass in art. So like,
It's brilliant, yeah.
I mean, you can look at any of the pages and see and get something from it for your inking, no matter what the style.
Yep. Inking, drawing, layout, composition,
the whole thing.
even writing. Yeah.
maybe it is a bit somber though. Like it
Great show.
might be a good idea to break up at least one episode.
Well, another episode or two, we'll find something to break it up. I didn't want to do Halo Jones book 3 until after I'd read it, so I haven't gotten around to sitting there and reading it yet. But as soon as I do, we'll throw that in the mix. Levi's in the house. Levi Krause, glad to catch the show live again this week. Thank you for the excellent discussions. Thank you, Levi. And again, you're always welcome to come on.
Yeah,
anytime you want to join us. Love to have you. Just let me know. You can reach me through Facebook.
Oh,
Go ahead.
We're connected to you guys. We're all connected to Comic Book Royalty because Dan Didio was chatting with Randy on Facebook earlier.
Yeah. Just adding a couple of quick points. That's a folks, we're really glad you stopped by. We've been looking at Two-Fisted Tales from the great EC Comics back in 1951. The start, actually a little earlier than most fandom. Really, that's the main reason a lot of these EC comics survived is because a lot of older readers read them, appreciated them, and saved them. So if you were ever at a convention and you see one of these out in the wild, especially raw and unslabbed, that's a very, very rare occasion. I can tell you, truthfully. We've been looking at the Russ Cochran reprints, beautifully hardbound, shot in black and white off of the originals before the originals went up for auction.
Wow.
So it's sets very near and dear to me. I've got the entire run of the EC material, all of these box sets.
You've got all those?
Entire EC line. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Most of them are holding up my bookcases.
Right.
Fantastic is back.
Actually, I have Two-Fisted Tales has been sitting here under my monitor the whole time we've been doing shows, and my Haunt of Fear brick, as I call them, is currently holding down my freezer here in the basement.
No, you just hate people who've got one set of that. Never mind all of it.
Yeah.
Well, as a kid, when they first came out, the first set of books they did was Weird Science. And see, when I was in high school, I went for 2 years at a trade school. They would split my day up, which was great for me because I hated school. And they'd bus us into the middle of the county to the Genesee Area Skill Center is what they called it. They now call it a technology center just to be more fancy. But I learned commercial art there, where I learned all of the tools that Photoshop completely replaced. You know, how to use Amberlith and Zipatone and all of that stuff. I was a great color separator. I could a master with Rubylith and Amberlith. But anyway, back during those days, I got into a big argument with these kids because I was a big Marvel and DC nut, and you know wasn't that aware of EC, but they couldn't have been better than Marvel and DC, the stuff that they were kicking out. You know, there was a guy there whose dad had collected all of the EC books, and they were really big. And at the time, there were a whole lot of EC fandoms and fanzines that were coming out, Squatrant and Wits End and that kind of stuff that a lot of these guys were still contributing to. And so I used to get into big arguments with these guys about how much better Marvel and DC was over the EC stuff. And they said, you just haven't looked at it. You just haven't looked at it.
What's wrong?
Yeah, exactly. When Russ Cochran kicked out Weird Science, it's all science fiction stories, so I had to buy it, and I got it. I got most of these at either a pre-publication price or I traded it at the local comic shop for a grocery bag full of comics. You know, I'd take a bunch of old comics to the local comic shop, and they would buy the EC volumes, knowing that they would trade with me, and they'd make out like a bandit, and I'd get the box set that I wanted. But I ended up getting all of these. In fact, I just got, they don't show it here, but I just got the last set a couple of years back from my buddy Scott, who owns Galaxy Comics up in Saginaw. He bought out a store in another state and brought the entire stock in, and he had a copy of a box set of the really early EC crime comics. That was just and I'm like, oh, I don't have this one. I got to have it. It was cool. But that's not even in this set here. That's not even shown here. And the new Impact line, the new Direction line, which is Piracy, Valor, Extra, Aces High, Impact, MD, and Psychoanalysis, they were all sold in individual volumes. So once the Comic Code Authority kicked in, Gaines tried whatever he could in order to get comics onto the stands and kept running afoul of the authority. They kept rejecting stories and making him change it because he was still trying to do adult stuff. And the Comic Code, anybody who's read the original code, was really geared at kids and the dumbing down of comics. So Randy is all the
comics.
Oh.
Randy,
I don't have all of them. Sorry, scratch that clumsy figure. Yeah. Real glad you're here, Levi, again. Great stuff. But yeah, these volumes are very near and dear to me. I had them in a bookcase in my foyer for too long, and they ended up getting a little bit too much sun on the spine. But other than that, they're still in real good shape, and they're very durable. So they could take a bit of abuse. But if you see even the Russ Cochran reprints at a convention, nab them, because very rare. Hardly ever see them anywhere anymore. Great stuff. Great stuff. And again, folks, I want to thank you for stopping by. We know the majority of our viewers are after the fact. We appreciate you very much. Make sure you add a comment, add a like or a love there on whatever format you're watching us on, and let us know what you think. Tell your friends if you enjoyed this discussion. We do this because we love it. We love this material, and we love looking at it. And we're really glad that you're with us to enjoy it with us. Glenn, tell folks how they can find you.
You can find me on Facebook and all the usual social media platforms. You can find me on this platform on Fridays and Sundays, usually, more often than not. If you want to get my books and things and magazines, just go over to Amazon. Everything's there. You can also get me at New Haven Publishing, where you can get my book about Jack Kirby, my visit to see Jack Kirby. And if you go to fundmycomic.com, you'll be able to pick up a copy of this Hatch annotated book. Hatch is my cartoon character. And on Amazon as well, issue 14 of Comics Unlimited, my magazine about comics, has just been published. You can pick that up there. But if you just Google me, you'll be able to find out what I'm doing and what I'm up to and where I am.
And folks, if you're interested about the history of Arrow Comics, the last 4 or 5 issues of Comics Unlimited has run a story article by myself about the different stages and histories of Arrow Comics.
Yeah,
so
and
go over there and check those out.
The latest edition has got is sort of a half a Doctor Who special, and Randy's got a really great cartoon strip in there with his recollections of the Good Doctor. Well worth seeing.
My personal recollections as told by my cartoon monkey named Spank. So,
yeah,
it was a lot of fun. A lot of great fun to draw. Russ, tell folks how they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at russleach.com. Go there and sign up for the email list. I'll show you a little bit of what's going on for the Shadow Kingdom, which is what we're going to be doing. We'll be launching that in March on Fund My Comic. And so if you go get on the email list, you can find out all about that. So there's a page from it. We decided to go color, so it's flat colors, so that we can preserve the ink work. And there's talking about lots of people.
Look at that.
There's lots of people on this page. So
Yeah.
there's so we've got the crowd coming through the main street, and there's Cole watching over it all. And,
I like the guys with the trumpets, horns.
trumpets.
Yeah, with the horns. That's great. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there they are saluting them as they go past.
Look at that.
So
yep.
So we've gone for simple colours.
So you are going for colour.
Yeah, we've gone for simple colours. So we've gone a slightly different route. We were
it just looks so good.
Yeah, this is the first of a potential series. So this is the original. This is the Shadow Kingdom. It's been faithfully translated by Randy, adapted by Randy, and I've drawn it, and we're colouring up. Randy's going to be doing the lettering. There's going to be some special stuff from other artists, including Glenn, in it, and which is rather lovely. And we were looking at possible black and white, but we thought no, we'll go with colour and maybe do a black and white compendium at a later date, because we've got lots of ideas for where we're going after this. So if you want to find out more about that, go to russleach.com and sign up for the email list.
There you go. Yep.
I have to say, just before Whiskey comes on, it looks great, but I prefer it in black and white.
So do I. But it's an easier selling color.
Okay.
I do think it is an easier sell in color, and using the flat color like that, I've shown that to quite a few people and have gotten nothing but compliments.
Yeah, people seem to like the flat color these days.
Mm-hmm.
There are great color artists out there who do wonderful work.
There's no accounting for taste, is there?
Yeah.
Well, there's such a thing as too much of a good thing.
Yeah,
you know?
but sometimes it can be over the top and can be quite confusing, especially if you've got. I saw some detailed work earlier. And I thought, how on earth do you color that? Because
Show
it
them
would
my
just become a mess, you know.
Show them
So,
my color.
Oh yeah. Hold on a sec.
Yeah, after looking at some of the Jack Davis
Where are we?
work that we saw in Two Fisted Tales, I really want to dig up those in the original color just to see how they look.
I'd like to see that. Yeah.
I'm very curious about that. Yeah.
Hang on, let me find that message I sent to Russ about the colors.
I'll have to go look for that.
What have I
Because
done?
it's
What have you done?
Oh, there you go. Right, you go. You can see. So this is sort of a mock-up of one of the possible covers. Oh yeah, you sent that to me earlier. Yeah.
like how.
And this is
we talked
this
about
is what Glenn has done. So I'll just show this, and then we'll talk about. So there you go.
Look at that.
Thwack. It's not a crack, is it? It's a thwack.
That's great. I mean, I think it's almost the difference between seeing it in high res and low res.
Yeah.
The one on the left looks almost blurred a little bit,
Mhm.
whereas the one on the right is pin sharp.
Yeah.
Even though your tools get better, you know, there is such thing as too much of a good thing, and too much overplay or too many special effects.
And like the glass on the left hand side looks nice.
Yeah.
But it's kind of confusing.
You could sort. I know what you mean by the blurring. You could sort of forgive them because of the motion.
Yeah.
But I do know what you mean. Yeah.
It's a little blurry. So, and it isn't blurred. It's just the presentation of the color. And then, of course, on the right hand side, it's not just flat colors. You can put the occasional tone in, like the sky.
Yeah.
It's still got a grad in there, but it's just little bits. And
Right.
I kind of, especially when the artwork is quite detailed.
Yeah.
I kind of like the right hand side. I see a real benefit if you've got a very open style where it's just fine line, and there's quite a few people out there. I mean, like Frank Cho's style is perfect for putting really good colors into, you know, like detailed colors.
Yeah.
It works. It makes it look beautiful because
They're
he's
both
got this
good, aren't
open, because he's got this open style. But when you start putting lots and lots of detail, when you like to put in lots of texture with ink, then sometimes it can fight the colors. So,
the thing I don't like about the left hand is the color in a Spider-Man's costume.
I don't like the light on it, and I don't like the way that his eyes are glowing either.
Yeah.
Although they should be white.
On the left here,
both sides, both sides, they should be white. So
yeah.
Yep. One thing that stands out about the right side here is the contrast as well, right? The yellows and the greens, the contrast of the suit and stuff like that. That's just as important as the other details.
Yeah. You can. That's what I was saying. It's so much clearer on the right hand side. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Some of it is down to taste. you know, that's the other thing. Some of it will be down to taste, but it's, you know, I like the idea of, if, you know, I mean, I've been, the other thing I've been pouring my way through, we won't say too much, but we were looking at like black and whites, and, you know, the way that Savage Sword of Conan was done with a black and white and a color cover and all the rest of it, painted cover. But because of the nature of the way the business is currently, it's not something that we feel is going to get enough traction. We'd love it to, but it won't. So I've been looking more at the Savage Sword of Conan monthlies, the small color, you know, the original Bronze Age one stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where I thought, okay, well, in that case, let's shift this. The black and white is going to stay the way it is. The inks are going to stay the way they are. Let's make it flat color. Let's go for that Bronze Age look.
Yeah.
And go that way instead, and do fewer books and more higher page counts, and just go that way instead. So it's a slightly different way of approaching the book. But at the end of the day, we can still put out a black and white only at some point if people want to see that. So,
yeah, why not make it a tier special edition,
and we'll make that a big deal and actually have a hardcover of that. I mean, that would be, if I could get enough people to merit a hardcover of my work, I would feel that my job had been done. I would be absolutely incredibly humble about that, and so appreciative, because that would mean that people were interested, that enough people were interested in order to make a hardback book for it, you know.
You could also do a larger book, you know, for an
it would be a larger book, definitely be a larger book. Obviously the postage would be a pain in the backside.
Monster.
But it would be a larger book without a doubt.
Just incorporate it into the retail price so nobody realizes that. We'd have to know how much it is to move it. Look at that, though.
That's lovely, isn't it? That's cool. I'm loving that logo.
Yeah.
I've fixed the M on Kingdom. It was see-through, but I've fixed it on the file I've sent you, so that will be white.
Right. Okay. Well, what's great about that logo is because it is white, if we need to, because the Atlantean, well, we'll just drop that in there. You don't know, the crowd out there don't know what we're talking about, but the Atlantean is done in exactly the same format, and dependent on the cover, we can color it.
Yeah.
Which is great. Really, really good. Thank you. Excellent.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
Just a curious, Russ, did you do the inks on that thing, or is it still in the?
Literally, I just penciled it, and
still pencils.
And Glenn just went over it with his
No,
he added his beautiful watercolor to it. Or is that inks? Did you use inks? Or did
I used ink in the end. Yeah.
So you used the what's it inks? Those new ones that you got?
No, I've not used them yet.
Oh, right,
I've been moving. That's on the next project, but that's just ink.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very delicate. It's lovely.
Yeah, I did a bit. I just lined a bit of line work, and if that makes sense. But that was just for me. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a great drawing.
Yeah.
But it was good to work on.
Cool.
So I was actually talking about the other thing.
What?
Driftwood.
Oh, go on. What about it?
The cover. I was just wondering if you had inked it yet.
Have I inked it?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought
we talk about this.
No,
I haven't. I'm doing that next week.
Okay. I was just curious. I don't know what your schedule is. So.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll talk after.
No,
Whiskey, tell folks how they can find you.
You can find me on the old X there, right there, Bandit and Ricochet Art Studio, or just it's Arts now. I changed it up because, anyways, you can find my stuff there, and I make miniatures and things of that nature, 3D models, for all your different kinds of needs. So you find me, send me a message, and I'll get you hooked up.
Cool. And folks, I've been your host, Randy Zimmerman. You can find my work over at aerocomics.store, as well as you can look me up on Amazon. There's a War of the Worlds volume up there that is illustrated by Horace. I'm especially proud of. If you want to read some of my writing, this Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to go through Sunday Funnies, and we're going to look more at Wednesday comics. Just start with issue 5 or continue with issue 5 and work our way out from there. It's a great experiment by DC that they didn't keep going, of a newspaper that folds out into large size. All sorts of great strips, great art. Can't wait for you to see it. Wednesday Comics on the Sunday Funnies this Sunday. Be back with us next week at 5 a.m. Friday morning. We'll look at more Two-Fisted Tales, more great stuff from true sequential art masters. And if you go over to arrowcomics.store, you can catch some of my work, like Paragon, which is a superhero story I'm pretty proud of, that's got a great twist ending to it, kind of my version of a modern day Superman. Also Calico Ashard, which is a fantasy, high fantasy title that I have with artwork by the great C. Michael Lanning. Just fun stuff to read. And also Herobot Zero, which there are 2 issues available over there now. 3-foot-tall giant robot defending his city from large monsters. And then very, very soon, as soon as we can get the changes up on the store and the campaign totally fulfilled, we'll have an Issues of the Fool available for purchase as well over at arrowcomics.store. So go over there and take a look.
Nice.
Appreciate you being here again. Make sure you leave this business in better shape than what you found it.
And there's some great stuff out there as well.
There's so much great material out there. Go visit your retailer. Spend a little bit of time and look through those books or those boxes you might not normally take a look through. Great independent comics available out there. Look at fundmycomic.com for even more modern, greater comics over there. Just some phenomenal campaigns going on there. Want to point out AR-13L, the little mermaid by Pixel Piper and the great Eric Hodson. That's a great product. Can't wait to see that and have that in my hands. Soul Tack as well, which is a great space opera title by Craig White. Both of those are Arrow Comics and will be available once those campaigns are done at the store. But don't wait. Get them now over at fundmycomic.com. Go over there and take a look at some of the other products over there, like Hatch Annotated. Great stuff. Great stuff, folks. Try to be more positive about this business, won't you? About this industry. There's so much trolling going on, so much stupid drama happening when there's so much great stuff to look at, so much great stuff to show, so many great artists. It doesn't matter how they voted. It doesn't matter what their politics are. Great comics deserve to be seen by everybody. And they also deserve to be done by everyone. So get out there and get in this business, make some comics, read some comics, give comics away as gifts. Let folks know how great this art form is, even if it's manga.
Criticism is useful, but negativity doesn't help. Get out there, buy some comics, make some
great
comics.
stuff. There's some great material out there. Go ahead, Whiskey.
One last note on that too is just because somebody's like famous or a big name in the industry doesn't mean there's a whole crap ton of talented people out there just waiting with gems in the rough that you'd be surprised. Go check them out. Go find somebody you've never seen.
In a world of modern entertainment, which is so often just bland and blah, go out there and find the voices that not everybody knows before they become trendy. Go find them now. There's so many independent comics. Yes, there are some rubbish ones out there, but go look, because there's some real great stuff out there.
There's gold in them there hills. There's also some dirt.
And there's some crap. And pretty much to everything on Fund My Comic is brilliant. So go check it out.
Great stuff by great people, folks.
Yeah. What's great about Fund My Comic is it's got comic in the title. Does what it says on the tin. Go do it.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time. More Sunday funnies, more Wednesday comics coming, more Two-Fisted Tales next week. We will see you soon. Buy alternative and independent comics, especially ours. And again, try to leave this industry in better shape than what you found it.
That's Vidania.
We'll see you soon, folks. Let's go out with our disclaimer.
The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indie Comics Network or its sponsors.
Disavow. Disavow.
Positions are very important.
Maybe if you use that voodoo witchcraft on your own trade, you'd find somewhere on the other end of the snake pit. I mean, do you know what a revolutionary soldier looks like? Have you seen photographs? Have you seen paintings? Have you seen charcoal sketches? I haven't seen them either.
I haven't seen them either.
Joke's on you, bitch. I love this shit.
What was that? This is not a charade. We need total concentration. Now, once again, this time...
He has lovely hair.
With you.
And I just want to say, when my time comes, I want to be buried face down, so that anyone who doesn't like me can kiss my ass.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey.